most language learning apps have a few core problems. Really not. A lot of them are tedious. They try to gamify things that I don't think you should gamify. Studying vocabulary isn't really something that I would say is very interesting, and that is especially true if you don't get to choose what words you're learning. And that leads to another problem. You don't really have control. You're learning what the app decides you should learn, not what you actually want to. And then there's the biggest problem. There's no clear end. Most apps are designed to keep you using them, and once you stop using the app, you don't really know how to keep learning. So what I really wanted to do is build something that solves that. The main idea is actually very simple. You learn a base of around 200 general words. That's enough for you to start interacting with people in some contexts. But on top of that, you also get resource packs. Those are based on your interests. So instead of just learning random vocabulary, you're learning the words that you're actually going to need for the things you want to do. For example, I would choose something like Pokemon. So if I'm learning Japanese, I can select a Pokemon resource pack and start learning the words I need to understand what's going on in a Pokemon game. That gets mixed in with the other 200 words, so you're learning both at the same time. You can choose up to 2 resource packs when starting to learn a new language. And the important part is that it feels like you help shape those then 300 words at most that you then end up learning. It's based on your interests. And then comes the part that makes this different from most apps. At some point, you stop using the app. And that's the goal. Because once you've learned those 250, maybe 300 words, you should have enough to actually start using the language. If you, for instance, chose Pokemon, you can start playing Pokemon in that language. Recently, there was a relaunch of an older Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch, and there are a lot of people going back to play it. One of the cool things is that you can play that game in several different languages. So you're not just learning a language, you're also getting that sense of nostalgia, while actually interacting with the language through something you already enjoy. And that's the goal. It gives you something clear to work towards, and it makes everything you do after the app that much more interesting. If you didn't choose something like Pokemon, then maybe you chose cooking. That means you can start watching cooking videos or following recipes in your target language after you're done with the app. At that point, you don't need the app anymore. The only reason to come back would be if you decide to learn another language. This is supposed to be a beginner package that gives you exactly what you need to start using the language in real contexts. And it's not something that should take forever. If you learn around 5 words per day, you can reach that point in about 2 months, or 60 if you chose 2 resource packs. That's roughly 250 words, or 300, and that's enough to get started. Now, I know that stepping away from an app can feel a bit uncertain, but the goal here isn't for the app to convince you that you're ready. The goal is to give you what you need, and then you move on. On top of that, I've made a lot of content about what to do next. Books you can read, games you can play, and ways to keep learning through your hobbies. And this is something that I've done myself multiple times. So I know that it works. And I know that other people have done it as well. So this is the beta version of the app. It's built around that idea. It gives you exactly what you need to get started. And then it gets out of your way. This beta version is also going to be available at a lower price. If you want to be a part of it, you can find it in the store link below. It's over. Once the beta period is over and the app becomes more complete, the price will go up to the full version. So this isn't something that's going to stay available forever. If you want to get in early and be a part of shaping it, now's the time. And of course you keep the app afterwards. If that sounds like something you want to try, you can check it out below. And I'd really like to hear what you think.